I've got to admit, I've been burned before by cheap ultra-wide monitors that promised a massive workspace only to deliver a fuzzy, reflective slab that made my eyes ache after an hour. The regret of spending a few $100s on a budget curve that turned out to be a paperweight is why I'm a little skeptical every time a new widescreen pops up on the market. That's why, before I even turned on the Dell U3419w, I dug through forums, watched a handful of long-form reviews, and asked a few friends who work in design and finance how they actually use a monitor this size. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What struck me first was the way Dell has leaned into the curvature. It isn't just a cosmetic bend, the 1900R radius actually spreads the image across your peripheral vision, so when you're scrolling through a massive spreadsheet or lining up layers in Photoshop, the edges stay legible without you having to crane your neck. In my home office, that curvature also cuts down on glare from the window behind me. I placed the monitor near a bright wall, and the curved surface redirected most of the ambient light away from my eyes. For anyone who spends 8 or more hours a day glued to a screen, that reduction in stray reflections feels like a real health benefit rather than a marketing gimmick. The real magic, though, is how the U3419w handles multiple inputs. The picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture modes let you pull two laptops, a desktop, or a console into one seamless pane. I set up my work laptop on the left side, my personal MacBook on the right, and toggled between them with a single button press. The result is a fluid workflow. I can draft a presentation on one side while pulling data from the other without ever losing focus. That split-screen capability is a huge time saver for anyone who needs to compare documents side by side, and it's not something you find on most 34-inch panels at this price point. USB-C connectivity is another practical win. The monitor delivers up to 90 W of power over a single cable, which means I can plug my laptop into the monitor, get video, data, and charging all at once. No more tangled spaghetti of HDMI, DisplayPort, and power bricks. In a real-world scenario, that translates to a cleaner desk and fewer accidental unplugging incidents when I reach for the mouse. For remote workers who rely on a laptop as their primary machine, that single-cable solution feels almost luxurious. Now, let's talk about where the U3419w isn't quite perfect. First, the refresh rate is locked at 60 Hz. If you're a competitive gamer who craves 144 Hz or higher, you'll notice a lack of fluidity in fast-paced shooters or racing titles. The monitor does handle casual gaming fine, but the experience won't match a dedicated gaming panel. Second, the panel is an IPS with a WQHD resolution, 3440x1440, which gives you plenty of pixel density for productivity, but it doesn't support HDR or a wide color gamut out of the box. For video editors who need precise color grading, you'll likely need an external calibration tool to get the most out of the display. Finally, the stand, while sturdy, only offers tilt adjustment. There's no height or swivel. If you have a fixed desk height or need to angle the screen for a different viewing position, you might have to buy a Visa mount separately. So, who should actually consider buying this monitor? If you're a designer, developer, data analyst, or anyone whose day revolves around juggling multiple windows, the combination of curvature, PIP/PBP, and USB-C convenience makes the Dell U3419w a compelling centerpiece. The extra screen real estate reduces the need for a dual monitor setup, saving desk space and simplifying cable management. It's also a solid choice for small team offices where a single workstation needs to handle video calls, spreadsheets, and code editors simultaneously. Who should skip it? If your primary use case is higher refresh rate gaming, you'll find the 60 Hz limit underwhelming. Likewise, if your budget is tight, the price tag of an ultra-wide Dell may feel steep compared to a pair of 27-inch monitors that can give you similar resolution for less cash. And if you have a cramped desk or a very low work surface, the lack of height adjustment could become a nuisance, pushing you toward a monitor with a more flexible stand. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is how the monitor's built-in speakers perform in a typical office environment. They're not audiophile grade, but they're clear enough for video calls and occasional media playback, meaning you won't have to immediately reach for a headset or external speaker system. On the downside, the speakers share the same power source as the display, so during a power surge they can produce a faint hum that's noticeable only in a very quiet room. In terms of value, the U3419w earns its price by delivering a cohesive package, a genuinely useful curvature, robust multi-input handling, and a clean single-cable workflow. You're not just paying for a big screen, you're paying for a workstation that reduces clutter, eases eye